beware of these scams when moving to Florida.
And we're getting started right now.
If you're looking to move to the Venice, Englewood, Northport, Sarasota area,
call, text, or email me. My information will be in the description box below. I hear from people every day and I love it.
and she can help you avoid this first scam, which is getting tricked out of your mortgage payments title. You know a little bit more about this, like this side of things. I would be the guy getting scammed potentially.
When you buy a house or a property in Florida, Florida is known for a lot of retirees and snowbirds coming down, right? So a lot of the older population coming down to Florida, and they are more gullible.
I wouldn't say gullible, but you know how like sometimes when the kid it gets to a certain age that they have to like look out for the parent more.
Yeah.
It's kind of that.
Like
I don't know
they become the kid almost.
Yeah, as things change, policies, the way things work, the way the world works, technology, whatever. I think just some of that kind of comes into play maybe.
Yeah.
And I have heard of a husband and wife are together and then one passes away. The one that passed away handled certain things and now the one that's left doesn't know how to handle those things and people will prey on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with buying a property in Florida, if you're financing, a lot of times you'll receive a lot of mail. It seems like it's coming from the government to get your deed, to get your title. You'll receive a lot of junk mail, and you shouldn't reply to any mail that comes to you if you have
legit.
It does. So if you think it might be legit, like just call your realtor, or it looks like it's coming from your bank, just call your lender and ask them, hey, like, did you actually send me this? Because in small letters, like tiny print,
the bottom or the back,
it will say, this is not from so-and-so lending, or this is not from whatever government. So you just have to be very careful. And again, the reason why this is known here in Florida is because older population, it's buying properties down here, so they are more
susceptible
to getting scammed and, to believing that something is real when it's not.
And even when we first moved, like some of the stuff was like, oh my gosh, what is this? I got to do this now. And then I'm looking and wait a minute. Some of it was for our businesses. Like it would seem like, oh, I got to get this plaque to have on my wall. No, you didn't. You know what I mean?
You don't need it.
It was always in the small print. And I've even got a couple things in the mail where it'll say like the name of the servicer you have for your loan on the mail somewhere. So you think it's official. Like she said, get a hold of the actual lender that you are working with.
Yes, because it has happened that people actually receive those letters and they're like, oh, like, holy cow, I have to change my auto payment information. So now they fill out this form and they're making payments on their mortgage.
This is what I wanted you to talk about.
But it's actually not getting paid. I've heard stories of this actually happening too, and you think you're making your monthly payment, and then, your actual lender comes for you for foreclosure because you haven't made a payment.
Can you imagine paying all that money and then
Yes.
you don't even own your house and you're getting foreclosed on? Like, especially for someone that's old and retired, like that's just, breaks my heart. It's just so mean. Okay, so next big scam, Facebook Marketplace. Got to be careful about Facebook Marketplace.
With the marketplace too, a lot of listings, people will put listings on there that are not even their house. Like they'll just steal pictures from another listing and, ask you for money for like the application fee or things like that, which is hard because like this is what a landlord is going to ask you for it, so it looks very legit. So here you're giving your money to someone that's not even, like it's not a landlord and that listing doesn't exist. You just have to be very careful and do your homework on that.
It's scary to think about, but you got to be careful. Next one kind of comes back to some of the retirees being taken advantage of, especially when one passes away and the other used to handle it. Especially I know a lot of women, unfortunately, are the ones that are targeted more for this, which is sometimes you'll have home service type companies, heating and air conditioning, electrical, plumbing, all that kind of stuff. And people will try to take advantage of them saying, oh, you need this in your house. And they already have it, or they don't need it, or they're going to raise up the price a ridiculous amount because maybe that person just doesn't know better. They don't really know what those things should cost. And a lot of times what they'll do is almost use like a scare tactic, like, oh my God, you don't have a water heater.
This has happened to us personally, where this
Contractor.
yes, will come into your house and they're here for one specific thing, and then they'll start looking around and like, you need this, you need to replace this. If you don't do this, like it's a major like big deal, and like they'll actually scare you.
Yeah.
Because they're the professional and they know more than you do.
Yeah, and to give a little more context and details, because I think this will really give you an understanding of what could happen. We asked for, I think we wanted a light
switch that
it was
wasn't
a
working.
dimmer that wasn't working, and it wouldn't even turn on or something like that. And we just wanted that fixed. He comes into the house, the first thing he doesn't even look at the light. He starts going around looking at our outlets and all this, and don't get me wrong, them going the extra mile to find potential issues in the house, no issue with that. But when it's kind of like the first thing he does and the last thing he thinks to do is look at the problem you called for, it's kind of like, what's going on here? And then by the time he got done with all that, he gave us this price to get like certain different things replaced. And it was just a ridiculous price for all of them. Like if you were to buy the parts and do it yourself, or you can just get a normal electrician to do it. And then on top of that, here was where it got really bad. When we told him we weren't going to go ahead and do it with them, he's like, you guys are bold. He's like, I don't know if I would feel safe in my house doing that. Like, he literally said that to us to try to, like...
And he actually did scare us. We get it. You know, people have to make money. And this is what's, you know, happening with a lot of older people. And another reason, too, I feel like it's because they know that most people in Florida are not from Florida. So maybe we don't know much about the houses or, like, you know, potential problems. So they'll kind of, like, prey on that.
Yeah, and just using the fear to make it feel like your life was in danger, just like, come on, man, that's a little bit much, especially when you're talking about older people. Again, I mean, there are going to be certain things that are a danger. That's not to say if a contractor says, no, this is dangerous, you need to handle it, that you should just ignore them. But there are going to be times where if like you just let them leave and say, I'm going to think about it, and you just give yourself to kind of simmer, maybe talk to a couple
and get
people,
different quotes,
get different opinions, you might not look at it the same way, which, yeah, always the rule of thumb, get 3 quotes. That's a great rule, not just for the price, but to see what kind of people you're dealing with.
Yeah, what they're going to tell you to do, and
Next thing to be careful is bad realtors, and this is coming from a realtor, so obviously it's not in her best interest to necessarily bring this up, but if she's a good realtor, it is, because you can kind of see the difference and know some other things to look out for. Go ahead and talk about some of the things you should maybe be careful of with realtors.
If you don't trust your realtor, you don't want to work with them. So like if you're asking them questions and they're giving you like the runaround, it's okay for, you know, us not to know something, but at least with me, if I don't know something, I will find out and I'll tell you, well, I don't know, but I will find out. But if they're just like giving you the runaround, maybe they do know the answer and they just don't want to tell you the answer. So if you don't trust your realtor, you should probably find a different realtor. Also, if you feel pressure, like they're telling you, and see, this is hard right now.
It's tough right now.
Yes, because right now, if your realtor is telling you that house is gonna sell in 2 hours, that house is probably going to sell in 2 hours.
Yeah, in this market.
In this market, but in a typical market, if they're like pressuring you and telling you like, no, that house will sell, and the house doesn't sell, like that's different too. And I feel like that brings again like you trusting your realtor and you knowing that they have your best interest in mind. I feel like right now realtors should get a break with. Just because the market is crazy. Maybe you don't believe that the house will sell, but from my experience, if I tell you the house is going to sell, the house is going to sell, and he's not gonna let me lie.
Yeah. No.
And a lot of times, like the house hits the market on the MLS, and it's like it's basically sold. Like it just hit the market, but we have so much low inventory and so many people trying to move down that whatever your realtor is telling you, it's probably true. But again, if you don't trust them, you should find someone you trust.
You got to be careful of ones that are maybe just going to tell you what you want to hear or tell you, oh, that's nothing to worry about. Again, if it's a good realtor, and it is nothing to worry about, you can feel okay with it. But if you're not really sure, and there are unfortunately going to be some out there that are probably playing things loose with, you know, well, do you really need that? Or is that a big, you know? And I think that's something to be careful of. And then one other tangent that I want to riff off of what you said, certain realtors that won't maybe get you the answer. I've also noticed certain realtors that you've had to deal with is that they don't always do the things that they're supposed to do, and then it gets put onto your plate because you care and you want to make sure people are taken care of. So it makes you feel bad for the person that is working with the other realtor because maybe they don't know anyone else, or maybe they feel obliged to use them because they're a friend of the family, or whatever the case may be. But if they're not doing the things they're supposed to do with you, it's like, what are they maybe also just skipping with that person?
Yeah. And I mean, like, I've had a lot of experiences with realtors where, like, it takes a day or two for them to even get back to me, and a lot of times they don't even have the answer that I need. Especially if you're listing your home, you do want a realtor that's going to always have your best interest in mind, that it's going to be there like for the buyer too, because if the buyer has a lot of questions, and a lot of deals actually do fall through because of that, because the buyer had questions but the realtor didn't get back to them, and then they felt pressure, like, if I don't put an offer in, I'm gonna lose the home. After the inspection period, maybe they find out something that they don't like about the house that, you know, the seller could have very well told the listing agent, so that the listing agent could rely to the buyer's agent. If they find that out, you know, something's maybe like wrong with the house and you don't like that, then that deal is probably gonna fall through. So like, you do want a good realtor, not only on the buying side, but also on the listing side.
Yeah, that they're taking good pictures, they're
Yes.
you know, doing a good job describing it and all that kind of stuff. Also, being where we are, a buyer's agent, a lot of people are relocating. And another thing you got to make sure you can trust your realtor on isn't just like the house stuff, but the location stuff, which our channel, we try to be as honest and transparent about all the things, the crime, the schools, the cost of living, what it's like in the city. You got to be careful with some realtors, one, maybe misrepresenting an area, or two, not necessarily guiding you to where you want to go, instead guiding where is convenient for them. Again, our channel is a very big resource. She's a resource if you are looking to move to the Venice, Northport, Sarasota, Englewood area. Get in touch with her, and you know you can trust her because we do a ton of videos where we show you the video of these different areas, the things you want to know about, so you can see it for yourself and you don't have to just take her word for it. We try to show as much as we can to represent it. And also we give you a lot of resources like niche.com, area vibes, so you can look this stuff up for yourself and you can feel trustworthy of her just like any other good realtor. One other big scam, would you call this a scam or just something to buyer beware sort of thing? Be careful. Bad landlords. You, again, brought this one up to me. I don't know as much about it, so go ahead.
In my experience, I guess, I don't know much about other states other than Wisconsin, but Florida, it's known for having a lot of bad landlords. And the reason why, I guess, it's because they don't feel like they have to upkeep the properties, just because if you move out, someone else is gonna move in, because again, we do have low inventory and a lot of people moving down, and you know, the house is going to get rented, or the apartment or the condo is going to get rented no matter what. Actually, we know someone who they moved within a matter of 3 months, I believe, before they actually ended up buying their house. They moved like 4 times because they had because they had bad landlords. Like, one was a mold issue, another one was like infestation, and like the landlords just weren't doing anything to fix the problems. So here it's like, well, are you gonna put your family and stay in a moldy house, or like would you rather just like, okay, whatever, if I lose this money, like, I don't care, but my family's safety is first. So landlords know that, and that's, you know, one of the reasons why they won't fix anything, because they know that
you're stuck.
Yeah, either you're stuck or you're gonna leave and they still get to keep the money.
And it's especially tough in the current market, especially this area of Florida, because the market, I mean, all of Florida's hot, but especially this area is so hot that there's nowhere else for you to go. Like, inventory is so low, not just for buying houses, but rentals are probably even worse. Yeah, I could see a lot of landlords be like, well, tough deal with
luck,
it, because you don't got anywhere else to go. That's
unfortunate, but it's the reality we're living in right now. So yeah, just be careful with landlords. I mean, I know it's tough to know because maybe you're coming from a different state, or even if you're in the same state, same city, like it's still tough to know, but just try to do as much homework as you can so you can find out, you know, if your landlord is going to be a good one or not.
Yeah, and I think one really good thing to do is go in person, like before you buy the house, before you rent the place, whatever. If you can see it in person, or go to the city so you know what you're getting into with the city, I think that can solve a lot of issues, or find someone that you can trust, you know, as a source to lean on, or to help you with, you know, contractors and kind of knowing what to expect, things like that.
And always too, if you can get like a friend or maybe neighbors,
Or
like,
a good realtor for a lot of
yes,
this.
like even your neighbors, like they can give you a recommendation of who they use, because again, we're from up north, so some contractors are taking advantage of us because they know that either you don't live here full time or that you're brand new to the area, so they don't really care and they just want to make money. So if you can get recommendations, that would be like the way to go, I would say.
Yeah. And on that last scam that we were talking about with the rentals, just, you know, unfortunately she can't help you with that because the realtors down here don't do rentals. Your best bet for finding rentals is Zillow or something like that. That's where she's just going to send you anyway, just so you know, just because a lot of people ask her, do you do rentals? And we'll save us both the time, you and her. But she can help you with moving down here. If you're looking for some more resources, this video right here will help. But if you really want to know more about moving to the Venice, Englewood, Northport, Sarasota areas,
call, text, or email me. I am a realtor here and I can definitely help you find a home. My information will be in the description box below. I hear from people every day and I love it.
drop a comment, let us know about any other scams you may have heard of, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and
Live breezy.